And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have our South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg representing Team Vitality. It is Solar. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the blue Terran player from the land of Poland, representing his new team, Navi. It is Spirit. Here we go. I'm just setting something up here. Beautiful. But interesting opener already. Solar going for a 15-15. 15 hatch into a 15 spawning pool. A very safe opener out of Solar. This does mean we have delayed gases, but it also means we get faster queen production, faster ling production, and you're able to establish your base here in a pretty safe manner. So interesting. In this matchup, it's usually Raynor and Shin. Raynor and Shin are very fond of this, but it looks like Solar is willing to mix this in as well. Meanwhile, Spirit going for a very greedy opener. This makes sense. This is what I expect out of Spirit in every game of this series. CC first. CC first out of Spirit. So this safe opener from Solar, not really worth it. When it comes to the openers, Spirit will come out ahead here as he's being greedy while Solar is being safe. And Spirit is known for his greed. If you've been watching any of his Terran matchups, or Terran versus Zerg matchups specifically, you'd be aware that, of course, he is fond, very fond, of just cutting as many corners as possible, being as greedy as possible, and so damn good at getting away with it as well. It's what Spirit does best in this matchup. He's far more aggressive and assertive in TVT and TVP, but against Zerg, it's all about being as greedy as possible. Very akin to a laser in a laser in ZvT, for example. Laser in general, he loves cutting corners, he loves being greedy. Spirit, very similar, at least in this matchup. For now, we're getting into our queen production. Lings droning up. Solar delaying his delaying his gas by quite a lot. And because he's just now getting his gas here after his third base is already on the way, this could be leading into Roach play. That's how Dark would approach this anyway. When he goes gases like this, because the gases are so late, no use in spending it on Ling speed, going into Roaches instead. I'm curious if Solar will adopt the same mentality. I'm curious. For now, Queens are getting up and running. Again, we're only defending with Queens. We only have 2 Lings to defend, and Queens are the name of the game here for Solar. Just drones in the Queens, non-stop. Behind this, third CC before Starport is on the way. There's that Starport in production. So again, a pretty economic start here for Spirit. And economic follow-up. Now from here, Spirit, he has been one to dabble in mech. That is true every now and then. But we should be seeing bio from him. I mean, we are loading into Alkione. It is a very large map, very macro-oriented. I think the largest map outside of Radisson Station. So as a result, this does typically lead into longer games and split map play. So we're getting into quick Banshees. Banshees on the way, Cloak alongside it. And Spirit is going for the Tech Lab on that rack, so that should be for Stim. Should be for Bio. Should be for Bio play here as Hellions, they try to dip on forward. The Queens are in position. And so far, Solar has gone away with just purely droning up. Only just now investing in Lings. And there it is. Stim is on the way there. The rest of our racks, it is going to be Bio. I've been scarred a little bit from Hero Marine from Big Gabe, and we've been seeing nothing but mech against Zerg. It's like, oh, thank God. Something different. Let's go. Let us go. So yeah, we're just kind of ramping up towards the mid game, which is what we expect to be seeing here on Alkyone. Fourth base is being taken here by Solar. We have a Hellions just vying for control of the Zelnaga. Double E-Bays on the way into 2 more Maxes. And nothing overly aggressive. I don't really expect anything to be. From here, Solar, he also went, I should have pointed this out, he went double EVA chamber before Lair. So the Lair just now finished up. We're getting into 1-1, getting into that Baneling nest as well. It is delayed just because we don't need Baneling speed anytime soon. And again, Solar's just being as economic as he can. Banshees, they have finally arrived. They get across the map. Getting 1 drone so far. Oh. Threading the mineral line. Catching a 2nd drone. As the Spore is trying to keep up. Ooh, rough positioning there from Spirit. Does barely escape. Does get away. But again, we are still just building things up. Stim is now done, working towards the rest of our bio production into drop play soon thereafter. 4th CC is on the way as well from Spirit. He could try and take the gold, but most likely going to be taking this base on the right-hand side. Again, Spirit, he isn't going for a 3-base all-in. He is setting up for the 4th. So it's been pretty passive so far. Been a very passive game. Solo, of course, has recognized the passivity of Spirit, which is why he went for an economic follow-up and why he's now getting into all of his upgrades. Hydrogen is on the way as well. And Solar, he's free to drone up to 80 plus, into up to 85 even. And he's been able to do so. 80 workers here from Solar. Likewise, Spirit has also been quite greedy and economic. 4th base, before even an orbital, by the way, or a planetary. He's going to be landing it on location and should be soon getting up to 80 workers as well. So far it's been a game of greed. Solar going to try and collapse on this, but good tank positioning from Spirit. Solar does get eyes on the 4th. Planetary is on the way. Spirit is pushing forward. Now that the game of greed has ended, now that we've done expanding and focusing on our economies, we can focus on the fights. We can focus on our armies. Spirit's 2-2 is a bit delayed here. Doesn't quite have the gas for it. Does have the armory. He is slowly edging forward. It does have a secondary army moving out towards the left-hand side, looking to deny this left-hand base. Did you catch the queens? 1 queen goes down, creep is receding, at the same time Solo going for a big counterattack. Creep is going down. Spirit collapsing on this base. And getting an Overlord, but trading quite well against the Lynx as well. Good target firing at a Spirit, he will escape, he will get out of here. Good trades with that drop. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, Solar, he wants the base itself. He wants the planetary. And he should be able to get it. Lingbane does roll in as if he's coming for us around, but the repairs are not going to be good enough. It's going to be a cancel on a base and a kill on the planetary. Good pick off. We don't really kill too many SCVs, but we do deny the base. So Solar comes out better here in this trade. He defends his 4th, he kills his opponents, or defends his 5th. Kills his opponent's 4th. The main army of Spirit, though, is looking quite terrifying. 2-2 now on the way. Spirit has a more efficient army. A stronger army, I would say, than Solar. And Solar, he needs to engage soon. The thing that's hurting Solar the most right now is his creep. I should say, the lack of creep. Spirit, he's more than halfway across the map, but there's nothing to stop him. There's nothing to slow him down. Solar responding with his Lingbane, but again, without any creep here, he's going to have such a hard time engaging. Gold base is being taken. Spirit does spot it. He backs off. Oh, that's a rough mule. It's like a muscle memory mule. Smooch. As Spirit, he's going to back off and go for drop play. Solar is re-expanding. Taking the gold, taking top left. I do think that Spirit could have stuck around and maybe denied this base, but Spirit wants to go for a safer choice instead. Does lose a tank, but not much more. Marines pushing in. We don't get eyes on that fresh base. Instead, we go for the mineral line. We go for the hatchery even. And can we get? We can! The base will go down. Big pickoff. 2-2 Marines. Oh, they dealt so much damage. I was a little bit surprised. But the base does fall. Double drop pulling back. Spirit pushing forward here with his own double drop towards the south, catching a queen. There is Ling Bane though. Plenty of Ling Bane in position. The goal base is going to be safe. It's going to be safe here. Solar keeps on pushing. Spirit with a wall of tanks won't be broken. Top left has been spotted. Again, both players are maxed out. Both players working on their banks. 3-3 on the way for at least Spirit. Banshees are finally being shut down. And we can see that Solar, he's transitioning away from, just slightly away from Ling Bane into Lurkers. Into Hydro Lurker. Ling Bane does rush forward. But pushing up this ramp without Vipers, it's not going to be possible. Solar will have to back off. Speaking of, Vipers are on the way. How many? We have one Viper already. We have a second Viper in production. Nida Swarm here for those Lurkers. We can try to backstab. Meanwhile, across the map, Spirit just walling off with turrets, sensor towers, tanks, planetaries. Liberator ranges on the way for Libs. Ghost already in production. Ghost Lib is exactly what he needs here against a Viper Lurker. Here we go. We're rolling in on the right-hand side. We're pushing towards the mineral line. Towards the army. A little bit indecisive there from Solar. And the Banelings, they don't connect with anything. They turn back around, but that was a very efficient fight for Spirit. He can keep on pushing. For a moment there, if you saw Solar, he initially went for the mineral line, then he backed off. He went for the army first, then he backed off, went for the mineral line. Didn't get anything. That was a lot of Banelings going down. Now, as we have freed up supply, we are working towards Lurkers. Lurker tech is on the way, but as we just mentioned, we have tanks, Liberators, Ghosts. We have everything we need to fight against Lurkers. Like Spirit, he's ready for it. There are times where players like maybe Beyond, for example, would hyperfixate on a bio-based army and would be caught off guard by Lurkers. But Spirit has been taking up quite well here. He's ready. Madison's the main. Lurkers do pop up. We are committing here, diving on top of the tank. The tank is going to go down. At the same time, Solo pushing here on the front lines. Does catch some of those tanks. They're exposed. Yeah, every single tank here is going to be going down. But we don't have enough to keep on pushing. The planetary does hold. Meanwhile, on the main base, here come the Libs. Liberation zones have arrived. Snipe's going to be going off as well. Oh, tonight is a little bit too late. And how many Lurkers are going to fall? There are 4 left. There are 3 left. Now there's 2. Now there's 1. 1 Lurker does escape. How many died? 8. Oof. Oh, God. So we basically lost every single Lurker. There's 1 Lurker left here in the main. And again, the planetary did hold. So even though Solar did kill a lot of tanks, that is true. He killed a lot of tanks and he killed 15 SCVs. Spirits can, of course, rebuild. He has the economy for it. And he still maintains his Ghosts and his Liberators. So now Solar, he's deviating away from all those Lurkers, getting into Ling Bane. Now, the hope is that maybe Spirit overcommits to Liberator production, to Lib Ghost. Here we go, Ling Bane does roll forward. Once again, a very efficient trade. Oof. Lightning card was good, but the Baneling connection's not good enough. Spirit takes another very good fight. Like, pushing up this ramp into this position is so difficult. Nidus towards the natural is gonna finish. We're gonna get a tank at least. We're gonna get damage on the tank at least. Another Nidus on the way is gonna be denied. And again, Spirit has done so well just trading efficiently, basically. Just trading efficiently against Solar. But what I will say is that Solar has a large bank, right? Like, the thing is, he can be inefficient. He has bottom right, he has top left, he has all these bases. He has all this mining. What we should be doing, though, is taking up towards Ultras and Brood Lords. What I mean by that is at least getting the upgrades ready. And here we go, we collapse on the position. Catch a couple of ghosts. Bane rolls in. 3 ghosts go down the tank as well. Spirit once again does hold. Solar remaxing with 74 Lings. And the Nidus does finish. These are expensive losses. Nidus finishes, but really that all that means is dead Lurkers. Lurkers go down. Now, this may be looking like, oh, Solar, he's trading and he's got map control. He's like suffocating his opponent. Kind of true, yeah, but the problem here is that really what Spirit is looking for is one good fight. If Spirit takes one good fight because of his army size, he can immediately counterattack, and with that counterattack, he can either kill a couple of bases or even end the game. Like, if Solar trades a little bit too poorly, then Spirit will attack. For now, he's just defending. Like, he's Demour. He's, like, doing his best Showtime impression, just turtling up and defending, doing what Terran does best here. Solar has to be careful. So here we go, we are rolling in. This time we're going for the Planetary, and this time we're gonna get it. Planetary finally goes down. The Banelings, they take down the tank, they take down one of the ghosts. 14 SCVs. Making 8 workers at a time. Spirits is going to be counterattacking just enough to clear up some creep. Going for a drop at the same time. He shouldn't be pushing towards the bases. But is forcing back his opponent. That's going to be a kill on that hatchery. Not too bad. Gets a kill on a base. But yeah, what I'm worried about most is that in this position, especially because Solar has a bank, we should be throwing down Spires, taking up to Greater Spire, Ultra Cavern, Ultra Upgrades. Not saying we need to take up in that direction yet, but ideally we would be ready with Infested Broodlord. That's the ideal late game composition here. That's where you can start trading a little bit better and containing your opponents and building up an even larger bank because of how much more efficient you suddenly become. Solar staying this long on Ling Bane Hydra is concerning, especially when he's not doing enough damage. Banelings are rolling in. Decent connections to get into the mineral line. The base is going to go down. 13 SCVs, 14 SCVs. Finally, again, we're actually crippling the economy here of Spirit. We are getting damage done with these pushes. No shot. Adrenal wasn't... No shot! Oh my god! 19-minute Adrenal Glands. I didn't even notice. Apparently Solar didn't either, but Adrenal was never researched. That's a little bit brutal. That's... yeah. That's a pretty impactful upgrade that has been lacking this entire time. His Lings would have been that much more effective these past 10 minutes. Speaking of, Lings moving out. They do get into a mineral line. Damage is being done at the same time we try to push in once again. And now this is scary. We catch out some Hydras. What's scary right now is that Spirit is losing workers Spirit is not replacing them. Spirit, he's going for a super max army. His army supplies is 140. His army supply is 142. He has an insanely large army. And now he's moving out. Like at this stage, Terran can rely on mules, like a handful of SCVs, mainly mules, and they can focus on just producing an insanely large army instead. And Solar doesn't have the biggest bank. He's got 2k, 2k. It's okay. He can remax. Adrenal is now done. Now we're catching out Marauders. Not bad. Couple of Marauders going down. Solo pushing into the main army once again. Off of creep. Good splits. Add a Spirit. Avoids the Banelings. Takes another fresh mining base. Lings harassing across the map, but yeah, we don't care. Not anymore. Yeah, this army from Spirit is insanely snowballing out of control. This is what we were talking about. Spirit, he was waiting for a bad fight. That was a bad fight. Where Solo lost all of his Banelings. Barely didn't kill anything. Barely killed anything. The Spirit can push. He takes down bottom right. He can take down the gold if he wanted to. Waiting for reinforcements. Lanes go for another counterattack, getting some depots. Drop across the map, takes down a mineral line, takes down a base. Again, Spirit up to almost 150 army supply. He is pushing forward. Top left gets dealt with. Skull base is gonna fall. Taking down bottom right at the same time. Solo's gonna be able to hold on to it for now. Has to be careful. And even though Solo's losing control of bottom right, he could at least expand here towards the north. Or he's at least expanding towards the north. We'll be engaging. Big fungal here on the Ghosts. Very nice fungal. Collapse on the tanks. A good chunk of tanks and Ghosts go down. But again, the army size, the army supply of Spirit is still comparable to that of Solar. That's just how much supply he had to work with. He can still keep pushing. It's going to be a kill on bottom right. Fester gets caught out. Solo taking a fresh mining base. Again, so is Spirit. Both players trying to expand here on the left-hand side. Do love to see it here. And Solar doesn't have a bank anymore. For such a long time, for like a good 10 minutes, he had a 2k bank perpetually. Now Solar, he's burned through it. He has burned through that bank. We have a Liberator here harassing these northern bases. We have a Ghost as well. Solar just unable to mine freely anymore. Lurkers are revealed. And here comes the army. Suddenly the main fight just rotating over towards the left-hand side. Bling's going for a big counterattack. We don't care. We're going for the Lurkers. 3 Lurkers go down. Bane rolling on forward towards the production. Good spread here from Spirit. Does deal with the Ling Bane. Without Ling Bane, there's nothing much to fear. There's nothing left to fear. So he chase down some of those Hydras. Again, an efficient trade for Spirit. And I think for the first time all game, Solar is down in supply. Period. He's down in supply. Down in army. Slightly ahead in workers. Things are swinging in favor of Spirit. He does catch a big chunk of Hydras, keeps on pushing. No mining whatsoever here towards the north. Joel Clay just harassing towards the south. Medevacs are going to be dealt with. God, that hive is so low. I'm pretty sure this hive is low just because of the Vipers. We've been sucking on that hive. Ay ay ay. Gonna try and resume mining here, but Liberator Harass is just so annoying, especially without any Corruptors to deal with this. Again, Lingbane Hydra can be a good composition if you can contain your opponent, if you can deny bases. Otherwise, it doesn't scale amazingly. Planetary is gonna go down. Same time, Lurkers, big shots going off in the Army of Spirits, but we lose every single Lurker. Spirit, he may have lost bottom right, but he still has the base up and running, and he will soon take a fresh mining base as well. The boys! No! Drones do fall. 29 drones go down. Spirit now has the worker lead. Now has a better economy. Solar, he isn't mining towards top left. No mining towards bottom right. Solar has no economy left. Barely any mining left for the Zerg player. He's out of money. He's out of steam. Spirit has just been trading so well, and Solar was a little bit tunnel visioned here on Lingbane Hydra, which again can work well if you can shut down bases over and over again and make sure that your opponent doesn't establish like this northern base, for example, or bottom right. If Spirit was like perpetually contained, then it would have been fine. But Spirit eventually broke out. He eventually took more bases. So this style from Solar, it failed. Did fail in the end. As again, you're meant to stop these bases. Stop the fifth, basically. The sixth base. And with that, Solar, he's pushing on forward, but this is not the fight to take. He has to, though. What else can he do? GG gets called, and Spirits will take game number 1. Ooh. GG. GG, well played. A solid game there out of Spirits. Again, just weathering the storm, hunkering down, and just absorbing all these blows time and time again before eventually Solar was just trading too poorly, and Spirit was able to break free. He was able to break free, finally take some of these bases, be more assertive, be in the face of Solar, and just out-trade him. Just out-trade him there in the end. GG. Very well done here by Spirit. And Solar finds himself behind in this series. And now we're going to be loading into game number 2 on Radha's Station. Let's go! What the hell were the vetoes? For Radha's Station to make it through, that is crazy. And this was the map that we caught a glimpse of on the mainstream. If you do remember, the mainstream did miss out on game 1, but jumped into game number 2. And I'm ready. I'm ready for what's to come. Radha's Station, the most vetoed map in the map pool. This may be the first time this map gets played in the entire tournament outside of the best of 5s. Again, you don't see this map that often, but here we go. Spawning in the top right hand corner, we have our Polish Terran player leading the series 1-0, representing Team Na'Vi. It is Spirit. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, ooh, once again going for a 15-15, we have the red Zerg player. It is Solar. And I'm not entirely convinced by the 15-15. So Solar did it both on Alkyone, now on Radisson Station. So we spoke about this briefly. The 15-15 is a very safe opener because it gives you fast queen production and it allows you to get it. I mean, to be fair, you could be greedy and take a fast third. I don't know if you can on this map with this build. But yeah, it's a very safe way to open up. And we saw that last game, it led into very late gas. Very late gas from Solar into a faster third base. And it went into later link speed, didn't go into roaches. And I'm not sure how convinced I am by this. You do want to be greedy on Radisson Station. That's the thing. The name of the game here is just be as greedy as possible. And I'm pretty sure Solar should be taking his third before gas. If he doesn't, I'm not in love with it. Meanwhile, across the map, CC first. CC first here out of Spirit. Makes sense. He went for it on Alkyone. May as well go for it here on Radisson Station as well. Ooh, here we go. We are mining through those mineral patches. So it looks like Solar is opening up gasless, and he is going for that third base before his gas geysers, which I do like a lot more. Again, we just have, like, Radisson Station is a really weird game. It's not your standard StarCraft to ZvT. It's just be as greedy as you can. Just cut as many corners as possible. Now, because Solar is opening up gasless, it does mean that he won't have link speed. He won't have any tech to work with. He can't really be aggressive. He can't really punish Spirit. On Radisson Station, it's one of two things. It's either you're hyper greedy or you go all in and you try to punish your opponent for being greedy. We've seen players like Serral and Raynor, even they've gone for like Nidus based all-ins or like queen drops across the map to try to punish the greed of your opponents. If you're not doing that, hey, you gotta cut corners. Meanwhile, we do have our third CC before Factory even, so Spirit just ramping up to 11. And again, if you're out there, we've seen Beyond do this on Radisson Station, we've seen Clem do this on Radisson Station, I'm pretty sure. If you're out there, do not do what Spirit does. This is specifically for this map. You can be this greedy. Again, third CC before Factory is crazy, but there is nothing that Solar can do to punish this because he has no link speed, like because he went gasless. Even if he didn't go gasless, like you're able to wall off and defend so easily here at the natural base. I should talk about the map itself, especially if you're watching and maybe you haven't seen Radisson Station before because it's often vetoed. This has a ramp leading into the natural. It has a pocket base that you can take freely here. Solar's taking the pocket, Spirit taking the pocket base as well. On top of that, there's no Reaper Cliff. There is no Reaper Cliff coming into the natural or the third base. The Reaper Cliff is here in the natural instead, so you can defend quite easily. You can deny scouting. And when you take the fourth base, there's one angle of attack. There is one angle of attack, and that is this area here. So you only have to defend in this location outside of defending drops. But if you want to defend drops, you have the Zonaga. You can take the Zonaga here and protect your base. So it's just very defendable. As a result, it's just a game of greed. And you can just skip the early game, go straight into the mid game, go straight into 80 workers, and yeah, it's wild as a result. It's wild. Speaking of wilds, I glossed over it. That is a 4th CC before Starport. So it was a 3rd CC before Factory. We get into the Factory, then into a 4th CC. This is, I believe, the greediest build that I've seen in ZvT. 4th base before Starport. I think maybe I've seen Honmono do something similar. I think I've seen Honmono go proxy 2 racks into 4CC. I think I've seen that before. But outside of Honmono, like, and again, Honmono, he's more of a memer. He's like, he's more, you know, he's special in his own way. He's very creative. Spirit just, again, embracing the greed here. 4CC before Starport. This is as economic as you can be. And again, he is getting away with this. Again, it's just both players just rushing into as much drones as they can, as much workers as they can. Solar not being as greedy as he could have been. This is a lair first. It's a lair into Bailey Nest, into 1-1 upgrades. Technically, Solar, he could have gone for these double Eva chambers first before the lair, just to be a little bit greedier, but he's going to be safer instead. So Solar just tentatively entering the mid game here. Being a little bit safer overall. Do have Overseers on the way to scout. And Spirit is already saturated here on 3 bases. Overseers are coming in. They do confirm the saturation. And Solar should also, actually miss the 4th. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's a little bit unlucky. Overseer comes in, and Marines are in position, and Solar has no idea how greedy Spirit has been, as the 4th has been missed. As it's even an orbital, it's not even a planetary. Ay, ay, ay. It's going to be an orbital instead. So Spirit being even greedier than I would have expected. No planetary required. Behind this, we have a Spire. So Spire and Mutaplay is very common on this map, just because, as I just mentioned, because there's only one avenue of attack here, Lingbane run-bys are not really possible. You can't really punish the economy of the 3rd or the natural. Run-bys is just not really a thing. So taking advantage of the air instead is what we try to go for. So we've seen a lot of Mutaplay here from the Zerg player. What I will say is that Mutaplay is very common. As a result, Spirit should have this in the back of his mind. He's already got a turret. He already, like, blindly, he just went for the turret anyway. He hasn't seen the Spire, he hasn't seen the main, but he knows to be ready for this. So turret is already up and running, only one. The natural is a little bit more exposed, but we're getting into bioplay anyway. And Spirit, for the first time, is moving out. Spirit does move out. We are working on +1 air attack, so it looks like we want to commit to Mutaplay. Not just to harass. But 11 mutas are in production. The double drop moving in towards that pocket base. The mutas have been spotted. They have been seen. Spirit is aware. And behind this, yeah, turrets are being thrown down. A turret here at the natural. Soon to be, I imagine, a turret on the 4th base as well. And Thor production has commenced. So we have Thors on the way. Mutas, they come in, they don't touch the mineral line, they get zoned away, and so far this is a good start for Spirit. He's gone away with his greed. He's up to 82 SCVs. Solar is zoned up to 90. Oh my god. It's a lot of drones. Arguably too many workers, as he's working towards his infestation bit towards Hive Tech. Still producing Lingbane. Looking at the muta count, we're up to 16 mutas. We can still gain value with this. That's a lot of mutas, a big investment here. And so far, Solar hasn't done any economic damage, but with 16 mutas, he has potential. Does have potential as he does move over towards the right-hand side. Has to be careful. There are a lot of Thors, a lot of turrets, a lot of Marines. There we go. Mutas are coming in. Do come across the would-be 5th. Forces him out of Spirit. Solar again working on that Hive Tech, working on 2-2. Now it looks like Solar, he isn't doubling down. He got +1 air attack, that is true. He did get +1 air, but he's not getting +2 air. And he's not making any more mutas. It's only 16. Sorry, only 19. So he's focusing on his ground army. We have Lingbane here towards the south. Mutas, they do threaten at that natural. And we're getting ready for a big attack here at the 4th. But Spirit is in position. There we go. We deny the CC for a moment. Lingbane rolling on in. And we crash into all the tankable things and the Thors. Not good connections. The Banelings, they evaporate. And the Lings are forced back. But that was a kill on the CC. Not bad. The mutas, they were able to deal some damage. They killed the base. They killed 9 SCVs as well. So wasn't a good trade with the Banelings, but was a good pickup from the mutas at least. As we rotate over towards the north, Hive is done. This time, we're on top of Adrenal. Remember, Adrenal was forgotten in that last game, but we do have it here in game 2. And we have an Ultra Covenant as well. So we are just hard switching into a ground-based army out of mutas. Again, these mutas, they haven't done much for themselves as we lead out a couple. How many here? Okay, one muta. One muta did go down. So far, good control out of Solar. Oh, does run into some turrets. We'll be losing another 2 mutas. Not ideal. And Spirit, he's already rushing into Ghost Lib. Jesus. Biotank Ghost Lib here from Spirit. Just refining his army, already rushing into that late game composition. Now what I will say is Spirit is successfully getting into his 5th base, is that the center of the map is very wide open. So the mutas do commit. But the center is very wide open and it's very difficult to actually push through the center without getting surrounded. That's the advantage here that Zerg has on Radisson Station, is just the surround potential is real. Well, as a lot of mutas are going down. Oh god. It's going to be 11 dead mutas and we're throwing them away here essentially. Solar freeing up supply. He's still making more mutas. I'm not too sure if I'm sold on this. I would have assumed that we were freeing up supply for ultras, but you know, we still have mutas on the way. Rocks are being knocked down in preparation for the eventual fights in the center of the map, in preparation for when eventually Spirit does move out. That's the difference between this map and Alcyone, for example. Alcyone does have better positions for the Terran army to move out on. Here, it's a little bit more difficult if we wanted to push through the center. The sides of the map are different, but we'll see. Ooh, that's a Lib auto attack. Oh, God, oh my god! The Liberators, they go ham on the mutas, and a big chunk of them go down. I think that was 4 mutas. Again, Liberators have to be respected. Even unsieged, they can do a lot to at least mutas. At least mutalisks. As Solar's double expanding is taking both center bases. And look at his back, he's got 6k minerals. Oh my god. It's a lot of minerals. And we'll see if we can take advantage of this center goal base as well. Spirit, he cannot let this get up and running, by the way. He has to stop this in some way. But again, pushing out through the center is just such a daunting task. And because of all these mutas, we're deterring drop play. That's the other advantage of going into what mutas provide you, is that we're not killing drops, but we're deterring them. Like there's just no drop play at all from Spirit. Not this time. Liberator does siege up. Drone's going to be going down. Meanwhile, Solar does focus here on the right-hand side. Does come across another base. Going for the CC. CC taking a lot of damage. Meanwhile, zero mining here at the gold. Spirit, he has his own bank that he's working on. Sleeping does roll on forward. Liberator's going for the mutas. And the Baileys, oh, they crash into a choke point. That was not a good fight for Solar. He plummets there in supply for a moment, but thankfully he has that bank. And he's going into Corruptors. Okay, Solar, you have my attention. Do we have a Greater Spire? We do not. No Greater Spire, unfortunately, but Corruptors can do far better against Liberators. 13 Corruptors on the way. I believe the muta count was reset, for the most part. We have a handful of mutas remaining here. 6 mutas. But I do appreciate this from Solar. This, again, can do far better against libs in general. We have Wingbane Ultra on the ground. I would love a Greater Spire and Spellcasters on top of this, but we'll take what we got. As nukes have arrived. Where are we going? Scouting CC comes across the army. Nuke will connect. Solar does pull back. Doesn't lose anything. We're overshooting the base. Where are we going? As we overshoot the base, CC is going to be going down. And we spoke about Spirit being unwilling to push through the center. That is true, and he's basically working his way across the edge of the map. As he does so, Solo going for a big counterattack, catching Spirit out of position. Lings flood in, nuke here towards the third, towards the fourth even. Ooh, no reaction. He doesn't see. No. Thankfully not fully saturated, but drones are going to go down. Massive nuke here. 12 workers fall. Big connection. And Solar unable to find the nuke as we head towards the natural. Not many workers to kill here, but that's a lot of larva at least. Again, it's going to connect. No reaction here. The boys, they're still here. 17 drones. The nuke said it'd stop. Solar, he just tanks them. Doesn't care. Pushing forward. Still has a bank. Medevac supports back. And again, Spirit, he has most of his libs and tanks here towards the south. He's not in position. Planetary is going to fall. We could maybe push it towards the natural. Do get the planetary, do pull back. We don't commit, not yet. But that's the dangerous thing here about how Spirit is expanding, is that he's being spread thin a little bit. And this area here is looking vulnerable. And if we can get past this, we can get into the natural, into the main, and camp the production. That may be the goal here for Solar. Nidus does complete. In that natural. Nothing committed into the Nidus yet, but there we go. Ultras are coming in. And again, Spirit, he's stuck here towards the south. He's racing back over. It's only one Ultra, to be fair. Solar, he does threaten that third. Sorry, the fourth. Gets a ghost. Snipe's gonna be going off. That one Ultra, oh my god. Getting a lot done. 9 SCVs going down. Did I say 9? 11, 14. Oh my. 14 workers do fall. And the main army pushes in. And again, Spirit having a really hard time just rotating over. Snipes will go off. More CCs going down. 1, 2, 3 orbitals. Nuke will connect, but not much to kill. Tanks are within range of this gold. Fun fact. Not nice on the way. The Ultra is still there. No. It's got 19 kills and it does go down. And Spirit was here towards the south, no longer. We'll be losing more tanks. And again, he's just being pulled left and right between his bases. Another more impactful nuke here at the fourth. This time we have spotted it. We do pull away. Raises some of those drones. Towards the south, and Marauder is going to be able to take down the hatchery. Not too bad. Sniper hatchery. So Spirit is fighting back, but Solar has a massive arm. Remember last game where Solar, he just perpetually had a 2k bank. Here he's got 9k 6k. Jesus. So many more bases here under control of Solar. And Spirit, he was planning on pushing towards the south. He was planning on attacking, but he's been stuck here on the back foot. Stuck receiving. Defending. Corruptors will clean up the libs. And again, because of the Corruptors, I do like this a lot more compared to the lead main Hydra that we saw in game 1 from Solar. He has a lot more maneuverability. Takes down the Ghost. Nice, and the main base is going to be shut down. We have a nuke towards the north, but once again, Solar does this time respawn. We'll avoid it. CC is going down. Big snipes here on the Corruptors. Finally, a good fight here for Spirits. They'll snipe a lot of Corruptors. Tanks are pushing forward. No longer is Spirit on the back foot. Finally, he can be the aggressor. But here comes Solar. And we collapse here on the tanks. Lings, they go for the ghost. Not the best fight. A little bit disjointed. Not the most efficient trades there from the Banelings, and we do deny that southern hatchery, which means Spirit can expand. He can finally expand, finally take another base. Meanwhile, the Banelings! Oh, there's no detection. Oh my god. The ghosts, they take a lot of hits, but they do survive. Meanwhile, Spirit, he overextends. He gets caught on creep. He gets completely surrounded, swallowed up here by Solar. A really rough fight there for Spirit. He does get cleaned up, survives with a handful of ghosts, but that was not a good fight. And just like that, Spirit, he plummets in supply. He's remaxing, but it's going to take time. Gets swallowed up. Again, maybe a little bit distracted by what was happening in the main base. And did overextend. Does kill a hatchery, but not the most important base. Not anymore. Nice snipes here on those corruptors. Spirit is rebuilding, but he has burned through his bank. His gas counts. It's in the gutter. Not looking so hot, not anymore. We catch up more ghosts. And these are expensive losses for Spirit. Losing ghosts, losing SCVs. Planetary not quite done. Here we go, we coming from behind. Solar collapsing on the army. Ultra's going ham. Banelings, they roll in as well. And we're just not allowing Spirit to remax. Corruptors, they clean up everything in the air. Every single medevac. And even the Banelings crash in. We barely have enough to break this position. And Spirit, he's down to his last legs. He's down to 2 ghosts. 0 ghosts remaining here for Spirit. He gets cleaned up, the base falls, and he's running out of money. There's no mineral patches here towards the south. There's, what, 2 patches, 3 patches here in the pocket base. Spirit, he's just running out of resources. Does have minerals to work with, doesn't have any gas. That's the problem here. We're running out of gas, but aye. And it took a while. It took a while here for Solar to really catch his stride. Spirit had his moments. Did have his moments, but it took him a little bit too long to really stabilize. Solar was doing a great job when it came to pulling Spirit apart with Nidus Worms, with run-bys. CCs are going to be going down. We crash in towards the planetary. Oh, we do have a wall of tanks with the blinding clouds. Not going to be enough. Solar does overextend. I like to just push towards the planetary, but not so much against the main army. As Solar has to respect it, has to back off. Oh, the Corruptors! Oh my god. And Solar. Bit of miscontrol with his movement there. Does have the 1 Ultra in the main base. Still has Nidus Worms in the pocket base as well. Pulling back Spirit. Looking at the economy here, Solar still has a fresh mining base here towards the north. Top left. Taking bottom left as well. Taking more bases. If Spirit, this is an ambitious base. Spirit, he's got a lot of creep to work through to take the gold. And it is a full mining gold base, but it's tempting. But Solar is just spreading so much creep here, being so annoying. Making sure the Spirit cannot expand. Cannot take that base. Take down another planetary. And which is important for gas mining. Spirit just cannot keep up. Still has a pretty terrifying army. Once again, Spirit, he has a super maxed army. He's all in, basically. Spirit, he's down to 24 SCVs. He has 164 army supply. It's all or nothing. Solar, he collapses on this position, catches out the army. Rolling Main crashes on forward. And the ground army does melt. But Solar traded well enough. Keeps his corruptors alive. Solar, he can remax. Spirit, he cannot. As he does clear up as much creep as possible, takes down a base. And Spirit can soon expand. That is true. We can take this center gold. But again, it's so exposed. And Solar, he's remaxing, and this gold base is next on Solar's list. He's coming out with ultras, Ling Bane. 7 ultras on the way. And Spirit has significantly less to defend. He had 165 army supply, now he's down to 105. Oh, the cracklings, they cracked. Take down some marauders, take down reinforcements. We mule hammer that gold as best we can. Spirit, he's starving for minerals. We have Lings in the pocket base. And again, Solar, he's collapsing on the gold. Spirit just wants to mine. He just wants minerals, just wants resources, but it's not going to happen. Yeah, Solar, he overwhelms the final army here of Spirits. There's nothing left. GG gets called, and Solar ties up the series 1-1. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Again, Spirit, well, there was a wild start where both players were being as greedy as possible, and things were looking good for Spirits, but Solar was able to find a chink in the armor. He was able to break the defenses with the Nidus Worms, with the counterattacks. Spirit was having a really hard time spreading himself between his bases and being in position. And it was dealing some damage, but more importantly, it was just giving Solar so much time to build up his bank. To get up to 9,000 mineral, to a 9k mineral bank, a 6k gas bank. It was crazy how much Solar was able to mine. And again, Solar, he was just thinking long term. Thinking very long term on Raz's Station. Just out trading Spirit. And this time successfully denying bases. It is something that he struggled with on Alkyone. Succeeded with on Raz's Station. And now here we go. We're getting into game number 3. We're loading in to Solaris. Let's go. The final game of the series and the final game of the night. Meanwhile, a shout out to Control Papi. Shout out to Control here for giving us a raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. I assume you were playing StarCraft, maybe some Stormgate. Hope you had a good time. Hope you had a great experience. And welcome everyone, welcome. Annyeong haseyo. Welcome everyone as we are covering some of the replays of IEM Katowice group stage of the round of 24, and spawning in the top right hand corner of Solaris we have our Polish Terran player, the blue Terran representing Na'Vi, forced into the ace match. It is Spirit. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner we have the red Zerg player representing Team Vitality. Oh, tying up the series 1-1, it is Solar. I think every caster pronounces Alkyone differently. Yeah, I think I know that a bunch of casters were pronouncing Hecate differently, and they finally come around to Hecate because that's what we've been saying from the beginning, because it's a Greek word. So thankfully, they're finally coming around to it. We'll see if they come around to Alkyone as well. Well, they'll get there, I'm sure. As for now, it is going to be a hatch gas pool, standard opener out of Solar. But I did notice that, especially at IEM Katowice, because it was finally the next big event where all the casters were coming together and like actually talking with each other, and they even brought it up how they were telling each other initially just to call it like Hecate or something in DreamHack Atlanta. But I think for the most part they've all come around to Hecate, which is nice. Or I've noticed that some of them, I think Wardy's even said it, where he just avoids saying it entirely. He just doesn't say it because he knows that like it's probably wrong or right, or there's there's just no agreement. So there are some casters that just avoid saying the map name in the intros, which is interesting. Which is an interesting way to avoid that kind of that issue. As for now, again, we're getting to our standard opener, Hatch Gas Pool. And this time it is going to be a Rax expand from Spirits. We have our Reaper on the way. Whew. And let's settle in to Solaris. Now, as a fun fact, I was already privy to the opener of Radisson Station just because it was also featured at IEM Katowice, but they only casted the first half of Radisson Station. They didn't cast the finale, and they didn't get into the ace match. So I have no idea how this story did end and how this story does conclude. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. I'm excited. Gibbs, Bobby Gibbs. But again, Solo for the first time this series going Hatch Gas Pool, which means he is not delaying his link speed as he had previously. A big reason for this is because the last two maps are very much so macro and late game oriented. Here you can see that Solar is ready for some more early game aggression and is respecting that quite a bit more. He isn't cutting as many corners. Likewise, neither is Spirit. He's going for that third CC before Starport, but I believe didn't go for the CC first this time, as Reaper has been chilling back at home. Interesting. No SCV Scout from Spirit. Very interesting here from our Terran player. No SCV Scout, of course, keeping the Reaper back at home as well. Really bold play from our Terran. I mean, it makes sense. I do think you can get away with this playstyle against Solar. For those that are curious, Solar, he's a lot more of a, for those that are aware, you would know that Solar is more of a macro-oriented player. Unlike players like Dark or Shin or even DRG, I'm referring to the other Korean Zergs, they're far more aggressive and they're willing to throw in Roach-based openers or 9 Roach builds and 9 Roach attacks and more aggressive early game styles. Solar, less so. He's a lot more reactive and a lot more macro-oriented, more so than any of the other Zerg players out there in Korea. So opening up like this and being greedy and avoiding scouting early on, I think you can get away with this here against Solar. I think it's fine. It is a way that some players can take advantage of Solar. As behind this, we're getting into just a 3cc Banshee opener. 3cc Banshee. Meanwhile, Solar is going for a lair first. This is a bit of an earlier lair. This was a 4:20 lair timing. So slightly earlier than normal. I'm curious if that's for a reason or if this is just going to be just a fast lair into a Bailey Nest into 1-1 upgrades. Which it's looking to be the case here. The third CC is being taken. We are droning. There's that Bailey Nest. Yeah, so just a safe opener out of Solar. Going lair first into a Bailey Nest, into delayed Evo chambers. The timing, or the way that this works out with the timing, is that once the lair finishes, the Bailey Nest finishes, and you can start up bailing speed immediately. And again, this just keeps you safe here in the mid game against two double tank pushes, against that 7-minute timing. Even Hellbat pushes, and we're going to be getting into delayed 1-1. Meanwhile, Spirit, building himself up as well, getting up to a 5 rack setup on 3 bases. Going for his add-on swaps and just establishing himself on his side of the map. He didn't really over-invest into Hellions. We have 8 Hellions, which is a good amount. He has 2 Banshees as well. Did invest into Cloak. And just now getting across the map. Hasn't dealt too much damage yet. Is making his way towards the main base. We have Hellions towards the north, Banshees towards the south. And we'll see how much damage we can get done. We do get 1 drone in the main. We get 1 worker. Spore not quite done here at the 4th base, but it looks like Spirit, he's a little bit late to the party. Spore does finish. This base was vulnerable for quite some time, but Spirit wasn't able to take advantage of it and will be forced back. So far, good defense out of Solar. Gets away with 4 base saturation, is up to 76 workers. Gets a couple of extra drones here in the main. But behind this, Spirit, he's just building up towards his bio army, towards his eventual tank push. Getting up to those 5 Raxes. Again, he hasn't dove in with the Hellions. He doesn't want to throw them away. He wants to maintain his map control as Solar is going Ling Bane into Hydra. And gases are being taken just to facilitate for Hydra production. Hellions are forced back. Hydras are amassing. Now what's interesting here is that Spirit, he's keeping his tanks back at home. Here at the 7-minute mark, you can push with your tanks, with Hellbats and Marines, and hit a pretty strong timing with 1-1. You can see that 1-1 is finishing, but Spirit, he's going for a more passive approach. Still hitting with 1-1 and his Marines, but he keeps his tanks at home. We'll catch a Queen. 1 Queen does go down. But from here, we'll be falling back, respecting the army of Solar, doesn't want to get surrounded. We'll rotate around. We lost an observer! Oh no! Looks like we lost a couple of observers in this game, but it's okay. It's okay. Solar is rolling on forward. Again, fighting off a creep is brutal, and now here come the reinforcements from Spirit. Hellbats are morphed in. He set himself up with the initial drop play. Now moving out with 3 tanks. Creep is receding. But Solar is amassing quite an army here. Was able to successfully drone up to 87. And is forced to cancel his 5th. But this area, this ramp should be safe. And Solar, he has a massive army here. Spirit just confirming the base has been denied. Rotating around, Solar going to be expanding towards the south and setting up a surround. Spirit, he does stim in. Bold move. He gets a Queen. And here comes the surround. The lanes are coming from behind. They lock down the army. They collapse on the Marines. They collapse on the tanks. And Spirit, he did just overstay his welcome. 2 tanks go down at the same time. Big counterattack here towards the south. These Marines, they can kill the hatchery. It's so close, and the base will go down. Big pickoff. Very nicely done. If only Spirit hadn't lost his tanks here towards the north, he'd be in a much better position. Regardless, does knock Solar down to 3 bases. And did deny the southern 5th as well. Spirit not doing too bad. Back at home, rebuilding his tanks, keeping them back at home as well. Only moving out with drop play. Just trying to pull Solar apart. Oh, the Bailings! Barely don't connect. Hellbats, we're left to defend, but the tanks are going to be cleaned up. Just pushing forward as well. At the same time, a triple drop does bypass the Lings. Uh-oh. Planetary not quite done, and Solar, he does catch this mineral line. SCV is going to be going down. The Planetary, the CC could go down as well. Ooh, as we drop into the main, Spirit getting a little bit greedy, he's going to be punished. Yeah, Medivacs are going down. Marines, they're going to be able to trade well here. Another double drop towards the north. The Spirit is being cleaned up. Completely cleaned up here. Does deny the hatchery, but again, it was a bit of a risky move to go into the main the way that he did. And the problem is he's losing medevacs. He's losing medevacs over and over again. So we do. Combat reports. That's 5 medevacs going down. Ay, ay, ay. Cutting the medevac count in half, essentially. Spirit is forced back, and Solar, he's up 50 supply. He's maxed out. Again, Spirit just throwing away too much supply in that harass. Not trading efficiently enough. He did deny a base, but that was not worth, what was that, 5 full medevacs? Like, that was a lot of supply. And now Spirit is stuck at home. He's stuck at home. He has relinquished map control. He was doing such an amazing job containing his opponents, but again, did overextend, and now Soul is double expanding. He's double expanding, and he is free to double expand. He's making up for his previous losses, knocking down these rocks. And now Solar is in the driver's seat. Hive is done. We have Adrenal, +3 armor, +3 carapace. Lunker upgrades on the way. Oh, we're losing all the... losing all the casters. Ay. Spirit is going to be able to find some damage here with these tumors. But not much more. Again, you can see the creep slowly encroaching across the map. Spirit is building up a solid tank count, but again, we see that he's just significantly less aggressive than he once was. Like, he's just stuck at home, taking a 5th base. His faith so difficult to hold on to. We'll see if he can get away with it. As the creep is almost at its doorstep. Instead, Solo pushing towards that triangular third. Bailey's say, crash into the depots, crash into the bunkers. Decent blinding clouds here on the tanks. Oh my god. Very efficient blinding clouds. Spirit will defend, will deflect this army. Again, Solo didn't really trade with the army of Spirit, but did deal quite a bit of damage to the infrastructure, to the SimCity here at the third. It's going to be that much easier to push in. You can see Spirit trying to rebuild. Trying to get it all back up and running. Meanwhile, Sola did successfully double expand. Now he's taking the north and the southern base. Range drop does come in. Being a bit of an annoyance. There's a handful of units everywhere. But this is going to be a similar tale, where Spirit is going to be harassing with drop play. He's going to be building up and maxing out, working on a bank, and eventually just stuck defending, absorbing the attacks of Solar, waiting for a bad fight from the Zerg player, and then counterattacking. Spirit will take down this northern hatchery. Meanwhile, Solar does collapse on that center base. And we spoke about it. This 5th is going to be so difficult to hold on to. The planetary does go down. Nidus in the main base does finish. And the Lunkers, they have arrived. The most successful Nidus here of the series. As Solar, he does came to production. At the same time, we do focus on this northern hatchery. Good pickup here from Spirit. Very nice pickup. Meanwhile, Lurkers, they do escape. They drop down here towards the south. They do manage to get away. Once again, this planetary, it's not going to get up. The creep, it's almost there. Lands just in time to be lifted. Lurkers have arrived. Will escape. And Spirit, the concerning thing right now is his economy. He actually doesn't have a mineral bank. He's having a really hard time remaxing. Another Nidus Worm on the way. Heavily oversaturated. One Lurker does get out. Solo pushing towards the south, takes down another tank. And the Baileys, they get in. They get into the mineral line. They go for the SCVs. They get the planetary. 14 SCVs go down. And Spirit, he is being pulled apart. Again, the Nidus Worm in the main base didn't do too much damage to the production, but did drag Spirit out of position. And the Nidus Worm created an opening. Created an opening for Solar to just knock down these bases over and over again. It started this chain of events where Spirit just cannot expand when it's losing so many SCVs. He's down to 55 workers. Another Nidus into the main. Solar just ramping it up to 11 here. Did struggle being aggressive, especially in game 1. But here on Solaris having so much more success. Behind this, we have Adrenal. We have about to be 3-3-3. We have one Viper now joining the army. this time Spirit is in position. But the tanks are exposed. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 tanks gonna be going down. We get the kill in the CC. We got a 4th tank as well. And Spirit is broke. He's straight up just broke. He cannot max. He's trying. He's trying to max out, but he just barely cannot. He moves out of position. Lings, they come in. They go for the CC. It's on fire. Nidus into the main. Shouldn't finish. Should not finish up, thankfully. Yo, remember when you needed, like, scans? Remember? Wait, not scan. Remember when you, like... God. Yo, the Nidus used to be a lot more brutal. It wasn't even that long ago. It was like, what, 2-3 years? Jesus. Heals Nidus, man. So long distance mining here. SCV is going to be going down. And again, it's just becoming too much. Oh my god, we're losing everyone. GG gets called. GG and Solar, he does pull Spirit apart. It does take the series 2-1, taking down Spirit. GG. GG, well played. A much more dominant showing by Solar on Solaris. To be fair, if you remember, Spirit didn't have a bad start. Remember, he was pulling Solar apart. He was killing, sniping bases, killing workers, trading relatively efficiently. But there was that one moment. There was the moment when Solar was knocked down to 3 hatcheries, but Solar, he killed like 5 medevacs. He killed a lot of supply. That was the moment when Solar maxed and Spirit plummeted to 150 supply. And that was the moment when Spirit lost control of the map. He lost momentum, he lost map control. From that moment, he was just stuck turtling back at home, and Solar was able to recover. Solar, he was able to recover, able to build himself back up. And as we saw, get to the point where he was just in the driver's seat, in full control of Solaris. Up until that moment, Spirit was holding his own and even looking in a better position, but again, maybe got a little bit too excited, maybe got a little bit too overeager, and was punished as a result. GG though. GG, well played. It was a good series. A solid series though from Spirit. And I do think that both Alcyone and Radisson Station kind of played to his strengths as well. Spirit was just hyper greedy and very late game oriented. That is what Spirit is known for. Like, we've seen Spirit take down Raynor in the late game, for example. Like, Spirit, he has some of the best late game out there when it comes to Terran versus Zerg, and it is something to be respected. If he can get there. That's the thing. If he can get to like a stable economy, like a solid position, then he can take it to any Zerg. I mean, Serral is the exception, but like we don't have to talk about Serral. But again, give Spirit, Raynor, Dark, Solar. He can take them down, as we saw in this series, but does have to get there first. And getting there is the hard part, and he just wasn't able to do so on Solaris, and struggled to get there on Radisson Station. With that, GG. GG, well played. Ooh, a solid series overall. A lovely back and forth between Solar and Spirit. And with that, series does come to an end. Does come to an end here. And that wraps up Group A. We've been going over all the replays. We've been going over the group stage. Over the past 2 days, we have wrapped up all the matches in Group A. Next week, we'll be back with Group B. We'll be back covering Group B, then Group C, then of course Group D to end it all as well. Over the course of the month, we're going to be going over these replays. In the interim, in the off-season of WTL and World Team League and all these other events, other things that we will be covering, GSL. I believe the GSL qualifiers are done. I haven't looked too deeply into them because the replays will soon be available for the GSL qualifiers, and we'll be on top of that broadcast, on top of those replays as soon as we can, most likely next week. Most likely. So do look forward to that. Otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. A bit of a shorter broadcast today, just under 4 hours, almost 3.5 hours. Not too bad. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you had a great time here. Great matches to be had. We were able to feature Scarlet earlier. Hero Marine, Trigger, Solar, and Spirit as well. Great games were had. We had some mech, we had some bio, we had more mech. A lot of good fun nonetheless. And with that, thank you so much. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys had a great time. We're going to be heading off here for the time being. It is still the middle of the day here in Poland, and I'm going to go see some ducks. I'm going to go see some quack, puppy quack. I'm going to go see some ducks outside. We'll take some nice photos. We'll try and take some nice pictures. Regardless, hope you all have a great day. Hope you all have a great weekend. When it comes to our next broadcast, when it comes to the weekend, let me just double check. But I believe our next cast is going to be KSL, the Korean StarCraft League. Now, we won't be casting the KSL live. I believe, let me just double check. The KSL is in how many hours time? It's in 15 hours. It's in 15 hours. We won't be casting it live. It's a little bit too early in the morning, but we will be casting it a couple of hours later in 21 hours time. We'll be live with the KSL 44 replays. Basically, like 4 hours later. It's not too long later, actually. But a couple of hours after the event does end. So yeah, we can catch up on the replays with those matches if you are interested. And yeah, we got that for you tomorrow in less than 24 hours. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Not too sure who, but we'll find someone to send our love to. It looks like Wardy is about to go over the GSL replays himself, the GSL qualifiers. Again, Wardy's going to be covering it today. We will be covering it next week. GSL qualifiers. We got you. We got you. Otherwise, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, hasta luego. Bye, papi guys. Hasta luego.
Making history. Absolutely phenomenal.
And Ace is the champion of the Intel Extreme Masters World Finals.
Storm's still not quite done. MC is going to take this fight, though. 3 seconds left.
Last 2 rounds of match. It's got to start it well for ESC.
And this is